and I will proceed with introducing our speakers. So our first speaker is Ana Sofia Bermudez. She is a young education advocate from Argentina who is passionate about education and youth empowerment. In 2022, she was recognized as one of the 10 outstanding young people in the province of Salta, Argentina, in the category Contributions to Children, World Peace, and Human Rights. She currently works for Education for Sharing, and she also is a member of the UNESCO SDG 4 Youth Network. And so we're very excited to have her here with us today. And our other speaker is Gabriela Lozano Campos, and she is the Chief Operating Officer at Education for Sharing. She has a master's in business administration from IP80E Business School, and she studied communication sciences at the National Autonomous University of Mexico. She also has a variety of diplomas, one in comprehensive care for people with disabilities and the elderly, and the other in management. So we're very, very grateful to have them both here today and sharing with us their expertise to this wonderful group of educators. Before I turn it over to them, I would ask that you all write in the chat where you are located, where you are from, and where you are calling in, just so they can see the variety of locations and educators we have in this group. So, and I will turn it over to the wonderful team from Education for Sharing.
Thank you, Amanda. We're really thankful to be here and really excited to see everyone here from all over the world. As you mentioned, my name is Gabriela Lozano. You can call me Gabi. And I have a very thick accent, so if you don't understand something, please let me know. So I'm going to share my screen. Please let me know if you can see it.
Yes, Gabi.
Wonderful, thank you. So our webinar today, the topic is using play in the classroom, and we're going to do it using the approach that Education for Sharing has in working in the different schools. Amanda already introduced us, Sophie and Gabi. And let me introduce a little bit about Education for Sharing. So we are an international organization that was founded in Mexico 16 years ago that has the great mission of forming better global citizens from childhood through the power of play. So we have a very lucky job, but a really important one, that it's playing, but playing with a purpose and playing with a clear learning objective. Where are we? As I said, we started 16 years ago in Mexico, and we have had the honor of being or to implement our programs in those countries that you can see, the 12 countries so far, and mainly along the Americas, but also we're in Denmark and in New Zealand. And in these 16 years of experience, we have had the opportunity of working with 1.7 beneficiaries in a face-to-face manner, and mainly our teachers, children, youth, and parents. And during the pandemic, because we all struggled during that time, we created a strategy that was called Also at Home, where we create many different resources using learning to play to keep having a quality education, and also taking care of the wellness of the different members of the school community. So basically we work mainly in schools, like 90% of our work is in schools, but we also have had the opportunity of working in shelters, public spaces like parks or community centers, and also in companies. That's Education for Sharing. So I'm going to give the mic to Sophie because we're going to play.
Thank you very much, Gabi, and hello, everyone. It's really excited for us to be here today with you. And as you put in the chat, we can see that you're teachers from all over the world. So we're really glad to be here today with you. So as Gabi said, you are going to play because in Education for Sharing, we're always playing. So for this activity, we're going to ask you if you can please turn on your cameras. And the idea of this activity is to literally build a dog The challenge is that we only have 2 minutes to build this dog with whatever thing we have near us, in our desk, in the table we're sitting on, whatever thing we can think that we can build a dog with these things. So the assignment is understood. If you can give me, please, a thumbs up if it's clear, or a nodding. Everyone understood that we have to build a dog in 2 minutes. Okay, I'm guessing yes, because of a bit of notchings that I've seen on the screens. So, okay, now I'm going to start counting the time. And when I say start, we have from that moment on 2 minutes, and then we're going to share among ourselves the dogs that we've created. So since right now we have 2 minutes. I'm seeing that some didn't get the instructions. We have still 1 minute and a half left. We have to build a dog with the things we have near around us. Doesn't matter if it's a cup, if it's a notebook, if it's a paper. Amazing. We have 1 minute and 10 seconds left. Forty seconds to go. Love seeing everyone building their dogs. We have 10 more seconds. We're almost there. Okay, time's up. Thank you very much for playing with us. Can you please put in your screens your dogs so we can see them? Thank you, Gabby, Amanda, Richard. Oh my God, I love your dogs. This is mine. I don't know if it's understandable. Thank you so much. Your creations are amazing. I know if someone wants to take the floor and tell us what do you think about this brief activity and show us your dog and with which materials did you build them?
I can go, Sophia.
Yes, go ahead.
So yeah, I had a bag of chips next to me. So I just used 2 of the nachos to kind of, this is the beak and that's the body. And this is my hair clip as one of the wings. And I just use my fingers as the legs of the duck. So that's my duck here. Hello, everyone.
Amazing. That's so creative. I would never think about nachos, literally, and about also using your fingers, because I've done this activity a lot of times and I've literally never heard that someone do that. So that's so creative. Thank you so much. Someone else wants to show us their dogs?
Hello, I'm Manisha
Yes.
from India. I just use my gym bottle can, my earbuds box, my razor and sharpener, and I just try to create a duck.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And also really
Thank you.
seems like a dog. I literally saw it and it was literally a dog. Thank you so much.
I think Sarita.
Thank you.
I think Sarita has.
Yeah. I
Go ahead,
use
Sarita.
a cold cream bottle And there were some stickers which I used to make the beak, as you can see, and a yellow sticky pad for making its feet.
Thank you so much, Sarita. I love that you added the feet. I always just put the tail and the head, of course, in the body, but never the feet, so I love it. Well, thank you very much to everyone for showing us your dogs and to see you so involved in the activity. But because I was seeing everyone was rushing, looking into things, running out with time. So thank you so much. And now that we built our dogs, I want to ask you, how many skills do you think we practice in this 2-minute activity? You can say it out loud, or you can put it in the chat. How many skills do you think we practice?
May I?
Yes, Sarita.
Innovation. And I would also say thinking out of the box, that is the creativity, because we didn't use a normal material, whatever was available, we were trying to use. So we were trying to innovate and think beyond boundaries and utilize whatever is available.
Thank you very much, Sarita. You said 4 skills. Now in the chats, I'm seeing 4, 2, 1 skill. Do you want to take any guesses on numbers? How many number of skills do you think we practice? Like 4, 10, 3. Okay, Jillian says 3. 3 as well. 3, 4. Okay, thank you so much for participating. 10, it's a higher number so far. Okay, I'm going to break it to you. We've just practiced 23 skills in just literally this 2-minute activity. A lot of skills that you already mentioned in the comments, but also short and long-term memory, self-regulation, communication, work memory, cognitive flexibility, imagination, of course, that is, I'm seeing that is one of the most repetitive ones in the comments, but in total is 23 skills. Did you imagine just in a 2-minute activity that was really playful, that I'm guessing we all have fun because of our faces when we were building our dogs? Do you imagine that we practice so many skills? I'm seeing no's. Yes, it's pretty amazing. It was also for me when I first played this game. So we're going to take this activity and now move on to the next, but we're going to mention it again now that we're moving forward. Okay. Now diving in a bit more in this learning through play. The importance of play for the integral development of human being is something that we cannot deny. And through it, we can enhance different skills, as we just mentioned in this 2-minute activity, 23 skills practice. Also attitudes, values at a physical, cognitive, and social emotional level. But besides that, besides enhancing skills, attitudes, values, did you know that is also a tool to transform the world? This is something that we're going to see in this webinar. In this workshop, you will learn how to use play to achieve meaningful learning and also promote the agency of change in people of all ages. Because literally in our logo, it says education for sharing, we form better citizens from childhood. And today we're going to tell you all about it. And also how we do this through all methodology, education for sharing methodology. That is a methodology that we've tested for so many years in our international organization, Education for Sharing. So now I'm going to pass the floor to Gabby to move on.
Perfect. So as Sophie was saying, we have a methodology and a model in Education for Sharing that we want to share with you. This is our secret sauce that is not so secret because we always share it with the people in the different webinars. But we have basically 4 pillars or 4 components inside of our sauce. And the first one is the power of play that we're going to like really zoom in during this webinar. We also use the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations as a way to create a purpose and meaning inside of each of the activities. We are sure that it doesn't matter if we are 37 years old or 3 years old or 6 years old, we all can be agents of change, and we can all help to improve our world. And we also have used civic values because, as I'm sure that you already know it, but when we play, we put and we practice a lot of values during the different activities. It's a way to show who we are and how we behave ourselves in our daily lives. And also we have the very clear in the mind the social emotional skills that we can develop while we're playing. Those are the transversal components of our methodology, and we have 3 steps during this methodology. The first one is play. We all know that play is one of the best ways, or one of the favorite ways from our brains to learn. So basically, we use this emotion, this willing to learn and to interact as the first step of our methodology. The second one is reflect. A lot of things can happen in the game, a lot. So what we do is to, using different questions, we help children and youth to reflect about what happened and really land the different learnings that we want them to have during this learning experience. And the last one is the action. So now that we understood the concept that we want to use, that we saw how it's important for us and for the people around us, we're going to commit about something related to the game we play. So the general objective of Education for Sharing in this case is form better global citizens. So here we can see yeah, perfect. So here we can see in a view the different transversal components of the methodology. The first one is the power of play, as I mentioned, because play by itself helps us develop many different skills, cognitive skills, physical skills, and also social and emotional skills. So I'm sure that if you take a trip to your childhood with your imagination, you can really see the different things that you learn from playing, no? How to self-manage, how to work as a team, even how to run, how to learn to fall down and everything. So in a very wide range of skills, we can use play to develop them. The second one, as I mentioned, are the Sustainable Development Goals that are in the really core and the heart of each one of the activities we create. The civic values, there are a lot of civic values, and you can choose the ones that you want to foster in your students. In this case, the main ones that we use are empathy, respect, gender equality, tolerance, teamwork, and responsibility. And in the case of the social emotional skills, we mainly use the CASEL framework. I don't know if you're familiar to it, but it's basically this very popular right now and really useful framework of social emotional skills that in this case are self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, responsible decision-making, and we add also resilience using learning through play. Perfect. So, Sophie, do you want to take this part?
Yes. Thank you, Gabby, for telling us more about Education for Sharing. And now we're going to ask you 2 questions so we can dive in more into what is this about learning through play and its characteristics and all of that. But first, we want to ask you if you think play-based education can transform the world. That's number 1. And number 2, it's what motivates you to be an educator. We know that Global School is a big community of really passionate teachers. Also really says a lot about your passion and commitment that you're already here today with us on a Friday morning, that we know that is typically the time of classes as well. So thank you very much for making the time. So we want to take a bit of time to know you more and know what motivates you to be an educator, and also can place-based education transform the world? Someone wants to respond to this question? Tell us more about you, what motivates you into day-to-day work to be an educator. You can raise your hands or comment in the chat or just take the mic. Sarita, yes, go ahead.
I would start with what motivated me to be an educator first, and then I will talk about play-based education. I started my career at a very young age of 21, and life was full of other possibilities. But one day I felt, how can I touch lives of people more effectively? And the best way to reach out the youngsters is to be with them and be part of them. And the only way I thought was school teaching, because I could have got in university and I could have taken a career in higher education, but I wanted to work with impressionable age population so that it has a longer lasting impact. And as far as play-based education is concerned, I believe in the philosophy of education of 3H: the cognitive, that is the head; the affirmative, that is the heart; and hand, that is the psychomotor. So when we use play-based, it breaks the monotony of the normal pedagogical methods and takes you on a different platform where all these three can be developed. So not only the knowledge that you want to impart, that is the cognitive development, their communication skill, their collaboration, their empathy, all can be developed through this, because play teaches you that you can't win all the time. Sometimes you need the help of others to make your way. So I consider play-based education to be really helpful in developing responsible and empathetic citizens. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarita, for that answer. We'd love to know what motivates you, what drives you to become a teacher in the first place, and also what do you think about these developing skills as well. I'm also going to read some comments in the chat. Anna says, yes, it can. What motivates me is to explore ideas with my learners, and as I teach them, I also learn from them. Transforming the lives of learners through education is also another motivator for me. Wow, thank you so much. I also noticed that we learn so much from our students. It's not just us that are teaching them stuff. Hello everyone. This is Anjan Wu. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, from Nigeria. I think without play, we will lack the right appealing recipe to attract children. So yes, play-based learning is the way to go. Great stuff, guys. Thank you so much. Exactly. We love to say in Education for Sharing that play is the language in which children communicate. So why cannot we use that to boost a meaningful learning? I'm seeing a lot of comments in the chat. Thank you so much. I see every child is unique and should be encouraged to learn and nurture, develop through their strengths. That's so important. Also, this Education for Sharing methodology allows us learners to discover different ways of learning. so they can understand that there's not just one specific way to learn, and don't feel bad if they are not good at that type of learning, right? That is basically the most classic one is the memory type one. Yes, Joseph, you want to take the floor?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to contribute about how the play is in the classroom or in the school. It's very important. With me, I actually deal with refugee students, and actually, most of them are having different ranges, and through play, they are in position to at least feel at home with regard to their differences in the face. Like kids who are under foster parents, or maybe under protection. Sometimes those who are, they don't have their parents, they don't have even their fellowship siblings at home, so they are not used to the play. And when now you make them play and take part in any play, they are in position to interact and feel at home, in the school. That's why now they find the peace of their mind. Otherwise, thank you. So it's so important. But
Thank you very much, Joseph. Don't worry about the noise at all. Exactly, as you mentioned, one of the components is really important that is of this characteristic of learning through play is the interaction children have among themselves and how they learn about this. They learn about to work as a team, to connect with other people, to respect other ideas as well. So thank you very much for your comments and contribution. I'm going to read two more contributions from the chat. Catherine says, I think play-based education has the potential to transform the world by nurturing essential skills and qualities that can lead to positive personal development, stronger communities, and a more harmonious and innovative global society. I love about stronger communities. Totally, we're going to learn more about that in the next slides. I don't want to spoil you what we're going to see. But thank you very much to everyone that shared with us their responses to these answers. Now we're going to explore a bit more about these key moments that Gabby already mentioned a bit about play, reflect, and act. All the games that we have in Education for Sharing follow these three parts, these three different moments that are key to ensure these different games are meaningful for children and they are actually learning while they're playing. The first moment is when they are playing. At this moment, we ensure that is a game and also a moment, a space that is cooperative, not competitive, inclusive, that everyone is participating, playing with all senses, that is something meaningful that represents something for children, that is joyful, socially interactive, that represents and demands an active involvement, that is iterative and also positive discipline. For example, in the game that we play at the beginning, that is about building a dog, we were really involved in the activity. This is, for example, just one of these characteristics. The part number 2 is reflect. We don't just play. After we're done playing the different games we have at Education for Sharing, we reflect about what happened during that moment of playing. How was our interaction? What happened during the play? And reflect. This boost for us to promote that we do an introspective about what happened about the activity, that we build community as well, because we're sharing what happened with our peers, with other children, with other youth, mediated by information, also promotes that we share what we think from our experiences, that this day-to-day basis, We share what we think or what we experienced during the game and relate it to something that we already know, previous knowledge and previous experience. It was also critical thinking because we're not just playing, we're asking children what they think about what happened. And also promotes systemic thinking because children begin to understand that all their actions has an impact in their classmates, in their communities, and that whatever they do has an impact in their context. And the last part is act. After we're done playing and after we're done reflecting, we go to this part about act. Now we just play, we talk about what happened during the play, what happened in these interactions. We move on to this act, that is, what are we going to do? This part of act boosts democratic child participation, promotes that children establish agreements and commitments, also promotes the agency of change, and demands an immediate and medium-term action. Why establish commitments? Because after we're playing, we're reflecting, we're asking children, okay, based on what we play, we're going to do right now. Because all of our games, as Gabby mentioned in the beginning, are related to values and also to the Sustainable Development Goals. So we learn about all of these different challenges we are facing as a world, as a humanity itself. And we want children to understand what are these challenges, what happened when we were playing, if they were practicing any values specifically, and then think about, okay, what we're going to do. For example, if we were talking about Sustainable Development Goals that are related to taking care of our environment, now in this act part, what I'm going to do to take care of my environment? What can I do from my place? From small actions that I can do right now to long-term actions. For example, we ask children, what can I do right now from today that is going to take care, for example, of the environment? And children can say that they can take care of their environment by recycling, for example, and they took all of this knowledge to their homes. And making them understand that all they do has an impact and can create change. This is why we put this promote of agency of change, and this also immediate and medium-term action demanding from them. So now we are going to move to the next part. Now that we've just started talking about this learning through play, of the different moments that our games have, we really want to ask you, what do you know about learning through play? Did you already knew that there's a whole methodology about this? And if you already are using this methodology in your classrooms with your students? Someone would like to share with us? Again, you can also share it in the chat. Have you used before this methodology of learning through play? Have you involved your students with playful activities, with different games in the classroom? Yes, Anar, you can take the floor.
Hi, I'm sorry for being late, but I like to use game-based learning, like using running competitions to differentiate between velocity, acceleration, and deceleration. I'm MYB science teacher, and I use game-based learning daily with the BYB and with the MYB because I feel that they enjoy learning while they are playing.
Thank you very much, Anar, for sharing with us that you're already taking this methodology to your classroom. And totally, children really enjoy this moment. And that's why one of the components we just see in one of the previous slides was joyful, for example. Yes, and Zhangwu would you like to take the floor?
Hi, Sophia. Hi to everyone. Great insights. I'm actually going to take some of the things you've shared here and take them back to the classroom, right? But yes, I wanted to say I have used the play-based methods a couple of times. In fact, so many times to actually make learning exciting here in Nigeria. Here in Nigeria, to be honest with you, kids are a little bit apathetic about learning, in the classroom, especially when it is not fun. This is because there's a bit of perception that teachers are not well paid, teachers are not successful. So when a teacher is teaching in the classroom, most kids actually feel like they have better things to do. So to actually address this, what we actually do is make learning fun, to get kids excited. It also is used to actually address the gender inequality perception in our society, right? Basically, sometimes we create games that integrate both boys and girls into seeing themselves as teammates, as a team, rather than competitors, right? So I think the play game method is the way to go to make learning fun, especially here in Africa, here in Nigeria, where we've been having a bit of a dip in terms of the number of people who want to be teachers in the future, and people who want to go to school. So right now you don't make them think it's school anymore. You make them think it's a game, a fun place of learning. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much, and Jianwu. It was amazing to learn about the challenges you're facing in your country, and as well how you're using this methodology. I really love the part that you mentioned about making learning exciting. We're also, one of the values that we really work in a lot of our games is gender equality, to promote this among our students. So we're really glad to know that you're using it as well. And we really hope that this webinar is helpful in some way, so you can boost the practices that you're already implementing. Sarita, do you want to add something else? Sarita, I think you're muted.
I've been teaching chemistry for last 38 years. And normally I would say, a myth that it is difficult, boring. So right from day one, I thought I'll do my best to get this away from the minds of my learners. So I used to use different techniques, which were using more hands-on and related to their day-to-day life. For example, learning about the elements. We would have a role play, and students were assigned elements. So they would put in the class the symbol of the element and a little information, and would exchange with each other the idea. And when it came to simple things like learning formulae or learning about acid and bases, so from the food to whatever they see around, I used to say chemistry is all around you. It is you who has to discover and find out. Believe me, today, my students, when they teach their own children, they use the same technique which they had learned, and they feel very proud. And I feel, on the contrary, very proud that I could get away the myth that chemistry is difficult. When most of the students said, when they took competitive exams, that this was the only subject where we didn't take any extra help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarita. As someone that really struggled with chemistry while being at school, I think this is so exciting how you use this methodology, and also make emphasis in experiences of your students for them to learn. I think it's incredible. Thank you so much for everyone that shared. It was really blowing your minds to me and Gabby. We love to hear from your experiences. We just have to move forward just because of the sake of time, but thank you so much for sharing.
Okay, wonderful. So what we're going to do next to understand better the methodology is to play a game. This game is called Shadow. And I want you, so the people that it's possible to have their cameras on, I would love to, if you can turn them on. And I don't know how can I keep to eliminate the el anclaje, so we can see everybody, Amanda? I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah, I can remove the spotlight.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, perfect. So what we're going to play is this game called Shadow Shadow, and it's really, really easy to play. So what we are going to do is I'm going to be the guide, and you all are going to be my shadows. So if I do this, you do this. If I do this, you do this. Okay, and if I do this, you do this. And in a certain time, I'm going to say shadow, shadow, and I'm going to send the guide responsibility to someone else. So for instance, I'm going to say shadow, shadow, Sophia, and then Sophia is going to be the guide, and all are going to follow her. And when she's ready, she's going to say shadow, shadow, and pick someone else. Okay? So is it clear? Yeah? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to be the first one. So are you ready, shadows? Yes? Wonderful. Okay, so shadow, shadow, Sophia.
Shadow, shadow, Gillian. Shadow, shadow, Gillian. Yes, there.
Shallow, shallow. Shalom, shalom, Amanda.
Shadow, shadow, Elena. Or Alana. Sorry for mispronouncing your name.
Shadow, shadow.
And the last one, Laina?
Shadow, shadow, Haifa.
Wonderful, Haiba. Thank you. And thank you for playing from a public place. Sometimes it's difficult. So thank you, everyone, for playing with us, Shadow, Shadow. So if you remember, the first part of our methodology is playing. And the second one is reflect. So in this really quick activity, I'm going to ask some questions. Please, if you want to open your mic and tell me or raise your hand, would be really helpful. So the first question is, what did you prefer? To be the ones that had the opportunity of choosing the movement, what did you prefer? Guiding or be the shadow? For instance, Amanda, what did you prefer?
If I preferred being the follower or the leader?
Yeah, in this activity.
I actually preferred being the follower in this activity because it was easier to watch everyone, and I liked to see everyone else all doing the same thing, and it was very fun. It was easier to watch.
Okay, wonderful. Gillian, what did you prefer, being the shadow or the guide?
Sorry, being the shadow
or the guide? What did you prefer, doing the
guide.
movements or following?
following.
Why?
Yes,
It's easier
it's very easy and fun.
and fun. Okay. So in this case, for instance, Sophie, what did you take into consideration when you create the movements?
Actually, when I created the movements, I take into consideration to be really obvious what I was doing so you can follow me. That's number one. And number two, to be fun things so we could all laugh, honestly.
Wonderful. When we do this activity with children, they normally look for things that nobody is going to be able to do. So I'm going to do a cartwheel, or I'm going to something like that. But in this case, I saw that you were really mindful of where everyone was, that we could see the movement in the screen and everything. So you took into consideration the different characteristics of the people that was participating, right? So when you are a leader in real life, what things do you have to take into consideration when you guide other people? Okay, I'm seeing the chat some things that you prefer. So what do you take into consideration when you're a leader? Establish a connect, wonderful. Also the characteristics of the people, their readiness, level of knowledge and skills, well-being, wonderful, hearing everyone's opinions, that's amazing. So when you are a leader, you have a responsibility, right? And when we are a member of the team and we're not the leader, do we also have responsibilities? Yes, we also have responsibilities. Like what responsibilities? Coming up with ideas, okay? It's not always only following blindly, it's also giving our ideas. Okay, follow first to lead and understand, following directions, discussing and considering ideas, understanding the directions, wonderful. So we all can be leaders? Yes, right? But can we always be leaders? Not right,
No.
right? In certain scenarios, we are also team members and our participation, it's really important, right? So in this game, as we saw, we practice a lot of values. Some of them were empathy when we saw the different characteristics that we had in our homes or even in the public transportation. We also practice teamwork because we all play together. What else did we practice in regarding values? What other values did you see here? Live to lead. Cooperation, wonderful. Honesty and integrity, respect. That's wonderful, exactly. So in this case, sometimes we use this game in certain context also using the gender equality. We talk about women can be guides, the girls could show some movements in this game, yes, and men can be guides, yes, also we can all be leaders. So we talk about that. But in this case, we use it about leadership. So after reflecting, I want you to please, I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and I want you to think in a commitment that you're going to do starting today to be a better leader in your classroom or in your family. You can choose it. I don't want it like something like really wide, like be a better leader. No, a certain activity really hands-on that you're going to do starting today to be a better leader. Listening, wonderful. That's a beautiful commitment. What else? To be patient. That's really important when we're a leader. That's beautiful. Communication, respect, and cooperate. Involve others to table their ideas. Wonderful. Listen to others and take their opinions into consideration. Agile mindset with different individuals. Wow, I love all the commitments. And remember, you're going to do it starting today. So if you want to transform into a goal, so for instance, listening. Okay, what I'm going to do is whenever I have to take a decision, I'm going to listen at least to 2 people. No, so we can like really transform it into a thing that we can follow up. So thank you for playing with me. We played this game because it's fun, but also because we wanted to show you the 3 steps of our methodology. I'm going to start sharing again. Thank you for playing. And the next part, it's going to be learning to play 101. So the very basics of learning to play and how we apply it in education for sharing. So yeah, perfect. Sophie?
Thank you very much, Gabby, and thank you everyone for sharing your commitments and playing with us. It was really fun. Okay, one important thing about when we are starting to talk about this Learning Through Play 101 is talking about cooperative games. Probably you already are implementing in your classroom cooperative games, but you don't know that's the name, basically. But what all of our games, actually, literally all of our games in Education for Sharing has these characteristics that are cooperative games. But what are these cooperative games? These are games that has the following characteristics that we can see on the screen. That are free of aggression. At any moment, they are violent or promote aggression between our students. Free from elimination, that is a common characteristic of a lot of games, but in all of our games, no one gets eliminated by doing anything in particular. They all can still be playing from the beginning to the end. Free from competition, in all of our games, we really promote for our students, for participants, to work with each other, to boost what they are doing, either if they are looking for solutions, even if they are trying to reach a goal, we really promote that they are working together, not against each other. They are free from pattern of repetition because we want for our students, for participants to come up with new things, new ideas to achieve the goals of the different games we have. And they are free from the pressure of efficiency, that this is so important because we don't have elimination. We all can play, we all can have fun. There's a really inclusive environment, and we don't have that pressure that I have to be good at something, either is running, either is responding a question, because I can still be playing and work as a team with the other participants. We also want to talk about the relation between these cooperative games with the characteristics of learning through play, that are these ones that we can see on the side of the screen. The structure of the cooperative games that we use at Education for Sharing are based on the social affective method. Here you can see the 3 parts that we mentioned before, that is these 3 key moments: play, reflect, act. We can see how this relates with the social affective method because they feel and experience when they are playing. In the moment of the reflect on the experiences lived in order to establish a connection with real life. That is something that Sarita, for example, already mentioned that she does in her classroom. And in the part of act, the educational process ends successfully when the participants put their new learning into practice. We play, we reflect about what we played, about what happened during the game, and then we act, making a relation between what we learn in that game and how this relates to our context, to our communities. We put with the things that we learn, that knowledge, into practice, into something concrete, as Gabby mentioned. Talk about one commitment and one specific concrete action we can do. For example, if our commitment is listening, I'm going to listen to 2 people whenever I have to make a decision. And on the side of the screen, we can see the 5 characteristics of learning through play. When I ask you if you think that this play-based methodology could create changes, you all say yes. And you all mentioned different things, for example, that students are enjoying, they are excited to learn, but why this happens when we are playing. And this is why we explain always the characteristics of learning through play. The first characteristic is that it's joyful. We have to be having a good moment. We have to be having fun when we are playing, because this helps us, as we're having a good experience, we're having fun. This help us to really remember what we're experiencing and what we're playing to this specific game, and what learnings we're getting from this play, from this specific game. It's socially interactive because allows us to work as a team, to work with other people, to work with our peers, and all of the things we can learn from that. At least listening to others, respect others' opinions, respect, as we see in Shadow, that we are not always going to be the leader, and be okay with that, with being okay with being a leader, but also being a follower, and understand how we can work together towards something bigger. For example, looking for solutions to something specific. The other characteristic that is really important is actively engaging. We learn best when we are really invested in something we're truly passionate or interested about. And this actively engaging, we can achieve this, for example, when it's that we are challenging our students to look for a solution that has a meaning for them. For example, if we, in our classrooms, in our schools, we can identify a problem that affects us all, that, for example, our schools, classrooms are dirty because there's trash all over the place, papers, things in the ground, we can think about a solution together. If it's something that is affecting us, we're going to be more invested, and we're going to work together to look for a solution, and that will be actively engaging for us. The other characteristic is also that it's meaningful for us, that has a meaning, and that's going to make us try harder to look for different solutions. And the last characteristic is iterative, that is related to this characteristic of the cooperative games, that we can practice iteration because we don't get eliminated from these games. So I can try something, I see that that's not working, okay, I'm going to think about another thing, I'm going to try again, I'm going to try again. It's one of the best ways of learning, when I can think about something, I see that works or doesn't work, and then I practice it, I implement it, and then if it doesn't work, I go again. Those are one of from these 5 characteristics, and now we're going to talk about how to create our own games. For that, I'm going to give the floor to Gabby.
Thank you, Sophie. So now that we know the 5 characteristics of learning through play, and also how we use them in education for sharing, we want to share with you the methodology that we use, the steps that we use to create the different games we have in the organization. And this can be applied to every subject. We have programs about finance, we have programs about science, programs about arts, about digital citizenship, so project management. So you can use this in a very comprehensive way. So the first step that we follow is define the topic. What we do there is to have really in mind a very specific topic that we want to talk about. Sometimes in the very first games that we used to create, we used to integrate a lot of different things, and sometimes the topic was missing there. So what we suggest is to start with a digestible themes for your group, in which you address only a few new unfamiliar concepts. So if you are going to use if you want to introduce a very new concept, try to choose one and to design everything around it. So that's our first tip or advice in defining the topic. The second one is defining the objective. What we do here is to really, okay, so this is going to be the topic. What do I want students to understand about this topic? So we structure it in a sentence that describes the objective of it. And we integrate basically 3 parts. what we want to achieve, how, and why. So basically, so really it helps us to not going everywhere when we play, because as we saw, a lot of things happens during the game, but having the learning objective clear, it's really the base of everything. The third step we follow is designing the play dynamic. Basically what we do, and sometimes it helps a lot, is to really think about the different games that we used to play when we were children, make a brainstorming about them. So I'm going to write down all the games that I remember I play, the ones that I see my children or the people around me playing, and sometimes it'll help us to create a portfolio of games. So I have all these games that maybe I can redesign with the learning objective that I want to use, or maybe I can take many different steps or characteristics of them to create my own game. It can be totally new, but sometimes to help the creativity, help us to create this, to do this brainstorm and really have in mind all the games that we already know and that can be useful to achieve the objective we want to achieve. And the fourth step is setting the materials. What we recommend to do, I mean, you're free to do it, is to remember that less is more. So sometimes we try to create games that we don't need a lot of materials, but because it makes them replicable. So I can use them in many different contexts, and I won't need something specific or very specific materials to do it. So, I mean, we can still do it using specific materials or complicated materials, but an advice that we can give you is to remember that less is more. And of course, remember to always resort to the 3 R's about taking care of our environment. So try to use the materials that have the least impact in our environment. This is the number 4. The number 5 is organize the time. This is a very a key step also, because when we create a game, we have to be mindful about how much time are we going to use for the whole experience. I mean, it's not only about playing, but about the different steps that you have to follow when you're playing. So you have to consider if you're going to see if it's a game that is going to use teams, how I'm going to integrate these teams, and how much time I'm going to spend doing that. How much time I'm going to use giving the instructions, playing the game by itself, doing the reflection, taking the part of action. So it's really important to have this into consideration. And also sometimes something that the literature and also our experience tell us is when we are playing, it's important to stop the game when the phone is at its peak. So when they are having a blast playing and everything, that's when we stop the game. Why? Because that's when they are eager to keep participating, to keep giving their opinions and everything. When we leave the game to die, when it starts to get boring, you lost a lot of that stamina, and you don't have the same results. So that's a tip that we have. The sixth step is write down the reflection questions. What we do is a lot of things happen during the game, but we're going to write down between 3 and 5 reflection questions that we want them to answer. And those questions have to be related to your game objective. For instance, when we play Shadow, I told you that sometimes I use it when I want to address leadership. Sometimes I use it when I want to address gender equality or even teamwork. So the reflection questions that we have to be related to what you want to achieve with your game. So we suggest to create 3 or from 3 to 5, and also don't be afraid of changing them. because sometimes a lot of things can happen when you are playing, and sometimes you want to address a new question and you can also use it. But having like a set list of the questions you want to ask helps you a lot and gives you confidence. That's important. The 7th step is recap the 5 learning to play characteristics. Sometimes when we create our game, we think that it's going to be wonderful, but what we do is to assess it, use it using the 5 characteristics of learning to play. That, as Sophie mentioned, helps you to make the most of the game that we're playing. So in this case, it's my game, it's really going to be joyful, or if it's too complicated and maybe they are not going to get it. Is this socially interactive or not? You can use games that they can play by themselves, but sometimes if I change this, maybe it's going to be more meaningful for them. And also, how can I use them to foster all the skills that I want to achieve during this game? So what we do is to really, okay, I have my game. I'm going to check if the 5 characteristics of learning to play are into it. And also sometimes we pilot it. We pilot with the team, we piloted with other teachers, we piloted with a certain group to see how it was. And also the 5 characteristics of learning to play. It's okay, did they have fun? Yes. Was it meaningful for them? Yes, or not. Was it iterative? No, because it only gives them the direct answer. No. So what we do is to use the 5 characteristics of learning to play to assess or to evaluate our game. And the 8th one, that it's the last one, and it sounds obvious, but it's not, because we have lost a lot of great ideas and treasures because we don't write down the creation that we did. So what we suggest is to create a template that is helpful for you. For instance, for us, we have a certain template where we put the topic, the objective, the sustainable development goal that it's related to the values that we want to foster. And yeah, so we have this, the duration, we can also share with you the template that we use, but I'm sure that you can use one that you already have. And what we do is to write down everything. So we have it in black and white, as we said in Spanish, in blanco y negro. And it helps us to have it at hand whenever we need, and also to share it with other teachers. What we love to do is to sometimes we create like these portfolios of games that teachers create, and we can share with everyone. So that's a treasure. That's a source of a lot of knowledge and a lot of activities that you can use. So that's basically what we do and the way we create games in education for sharing. So the next activity is going to be a very quick activity. I know that we don't have enough time to create a game, to create a whole game, but we will love you to create a concept of a game, to follow these steps and create only a concept. Put the topic that you want to address, the learning objective of it, how much do you want it to last, and the brief concept of the dynamics. So that's the next activity. We're going to have only let's see how what can we achieve in 7 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to give you 7 minutes to create a concept of a game, not a whole game, but a concept of a game. Okay, so do you want me to maybe show the 5 characteristics of learning to play so you have them in mind? And please let me know if you have any questions. We're going to be here, and yeah, are you ready? Yes.
Gabby, can you just say the 4 things again? Sophia put it into the chat. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sophie. Topic, learning objective. Let me see. Topic, learning objective, the duration, and the dynamic. Okay, I'm going to put the slide with the learning to play characteristics so you can hope you can support yourself with it.
Gabby, we're seeing the slide of the 5 characteristics.
Yeah, what do you, yeah, exactly. Do you prefer this one?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Three more minutes. I should have choose a playlist with music to create the playful experience. One minute, team.
Excuse me, this side Aarti. Do we have to post this in chat box?
Sorry?
Good evening. Do we have to post this in chat box? I have posted my game.
You already finished?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
She's asking if she has to put it in the chat box. Not necessarily. If you want, that would be
If you
amazing.
want,
so
that
we
would
can see it.
be awesome. Yes.
Yeah, I have posted that.
Wonderful.
May I get 1 minute? May I get 1 minute of you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I want to wish
I think we're
everyone
losing you a little bit.
international literacy. Okay, I want to wish everyone happy international literacy day.
No, I think we lost you. But
Gabriela, I have put it on a notepad. Do you want me to put it on chat or we'll get time to share?
think we can, if you can post it into the chat, that would be wonderful. And because that way everyone is going to be able to see it, and maybe if you want them to also use it, that would be awesome. And also because we're running out of time. But I think we have time for only one of you. Can you would want to say it out loud, to share it out loud, your game? I think everyone is
Am I
writing it
audible?
down.
I-
Sorry?
Am I audible this side, Aarti?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to share my game with you all. It's International Literacy Day, and I'm working as a librarian in international school. So my title would be Word Quest: The Literacy Adventure, and learning objective would be to improve literacy skills in vocabulary, spelling, and reading comprehension. And my game dynamics would be player embark on a virtual adventure as explorers in a magical world filled with challenges and quests. And two over searching narrative revolves around saving a lost library of knowledge, and players must recover scattered word to rebuild it. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. It's an awesome concept of a game. Wonderful. So I think we can finish the last of the presentation. And
Thank you,
Sophie.
Gabby. Yes, we have just one more slide before jumping to the Q&A. But we want to end with this question: how to form agents of change through play. That is basically something that we've been talking about during all the webinar. We from Education for Sharing, we use this power of play because we understand that is the language that children use to foster an incredible space for them to learn about the Sustainable Development Goals, about the values, and we specifically do that for them to understand the challenges of their communities, that we as a humanity, doesn't matter if I live in Argentina, in Brazil, in Nigeria, we all face the same challenges that are here in these Sustainable Development Goals, that we see them there, and to understand that, to see these as problematics and how we use the learning, the things that we learn in school, to use that knowledge to put it into concrete solutions to make an impact. And this is always also how we also always talk about citizenship, because children, by playing to these games, by understanding that they have an impact in their community, that we are all facing the same challenges, they understand that the things that they do make an impact and can create change. And doesn't matter if you have 10 years old or if you have 20, if you're the director of an NGO, if you're a student, we all can create change if we think what can we do from our place. That's the last part. If you remember the part of play, reflect, act. What can we do from our place? And it's incredible for us to see how students, when we take our programs to their schools, how they start creating change, just not in the games, not at that specific time, but even beyond. Take it to their families, to their communities, to their homes, and how parents tell us, my kid told me and teach me how to recycle things, and now we recycle at home, and we're promoting all these changes. And kids understand that they are really creating something that makes a long-lasting change, and most of all understand that we can all change the world from different places, and how to use knowledge in a different way, right? Not just learn at school to pass my exams, but to learn to use that learning for something meaningful, that's something that matters, and something that changed and makes the difference. So that's the last part. Here we have our website for you to check, and also our emails if you want to contact for anything. And now, before wrapping up, we of course want to do a brief Q&A and ask you if you have any questions or comments or whatever that you want to share or ask to us. We'll be really glad to respond.
Thank you. This one, something.
It can be anything, honestly. Like, I like the webinar, I didn't like the webinar, I like this game, I learned this, or I have this question, or this is the challenge I face in my classroom. Do you recommend me something? Honestly, anything you want to share or ask with us.
Thank you very much. I've gained a lot from your lessons. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. Is it possible to invite you to address to a larger group of educators from India, and we have a workshop kind of thing with you?
Of course, if you want to share, to write an email for us in those emails that we shared, that of course we can talk about it. We would love to.
Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for your participation.
Bye.
And thank you for sharing the email, Sophie.
So if there are no more questions, Gabriela and Sophia, any last words for the group here?
Not only thank you.
Yes.
What an amazing group. Yeah.
Yes, hello. I want to say hello from Indonesia. I just want to say thanks to you, to all of you, and I need the slide. Can you send it to my email, please? The slide, sir.
And that can we share them? Yes, right?
Yes. So just to give a final announcement, we will share the recording and any materials that Gabriela and Sophie have for this group through the Global Schools newsletter. So if you go to globalschoolsprogram.org, on the bottom of that page is a sign up, and that will be how we will send the information out to everyone. So please sign up on globalschoolsprogram.org so we can reach you with the materials.
Okay, thank you.
I think Joseph has a quick comment, because we have to close in a few minutes. So I'll just turn it over to you quickly, Joseph.
Sorry. Yeah. Hi everybody, I'm Joseph, greeting from Sierra Leone. I just want to say thanks to the presenters and want to ask if there will be a way we could be doing this meeting, like let me say once a month, so that we could be creating a way where we can add to the information people will be getting, because I think this information is very useful. Some of us that are running schools want to be taking these ideas back. Is there a way where we could be getting these sessions frequently or like once in a month? That's just the question I want to ask. Thank you.
Hi there. That was a wonderful session. I'm from India, Hyderabad, and I love the slides which speaks about the agents of change. Would love to have few more points to be given on how to make happy learners, how to bring happiness in the classroom. If you could throw light on those areas also, that would add value to our classroom management. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the comments. Gabby and Sophia, do you have any responses? I can respond to Joseph's comment, and then if you want to respond to Ms. Hafsa's.
Yes. So first to Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph, Global Schools hosts pedagogical sessions, 1 or 2 every single month. So we will be continuing to host these. So please follow along on our newsletter and on our blog. We also send emails directly to advocates and alumni about the sessions. If you're interested in more play-based sessions, I can definitely talk to Gabriela and Sophia and see how to organize those based on their capacity and all the knowledge they have to share with us. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Amanda. And regarding the second question, what we do, we understand that sometimes it's difficult to assign a certain time for playing, because normally we see it at something extra. So we teach our classes and then we play. What we do is, or we suggest to bring play in the classroom, is to create the different play experiences linked to the learning objectives that you have in your class. For instance, we create many games that are, according to the Ministry of Education, you have to reach this, and this objective. And what we do is create a game to teach it. So it's like changing the chip or the mindset, and to see how can I integrate play in my daily classes. So that's like a challenge. So in this case, maybe I'm going to choose from this learning unit, I'm going to choose at least one topic that I'm going to address using play, and we create it. So it's important to not see it as something extra, but as a part of what you have to teach, and the ministries are asked you to teach.
So we'll have just one more question from Amar, because unfortunately we are at the time here. And so Amar, please go ahead.
Hi everyone. Thank you very much for the sharing. I just want to ask, I'm from Syria and we have a big problem of a large number of students. So if there are any games, especially for this case, because not any game can we do with like 40, 50 students in the class. So if you can share any kind of games for this case. Thank you very much.
Of course, maybe we can curate from the set of games that we have, and we can share it with you with the slides, so you can have them. For instance, this play of Shadow, that the one we play, is one that I use everywhere, and it doesn't matter if it's a very small group or a very large one, and we can play it in different ways. So basically, one is that everyone follows, and another one is you create couples, and one is the guide and one is the shadow, and you say shadow, and they change the role, and then say shadow, and they keep changing. And you can use it in with a lot of, I have used it with people from, I don't know, 80 people groups. So you can use that game, and I'm going to look for more games that we have for bigger groups to share it with you.
So I will close this session because we're at the time here. And thank you once again to Gabriela and Sophia. We are very grateful for the time you spent with us, for all of the knowledge you shared with us. And we're looking forward to sending out these materials to this community here on the call. And thank you everyone for your time and your participation especially. And we really hope to see you on the next pedagogical session that we're hosting at the Global Schools program. So once again, we will see you soon. The next session we're hosting is on September 18th. Where students will be showcasing their SDG projects. This will be led by students themselves. So we're very excited to see you there. And all the information will be on our website and in our newsletter. So thank you once again, everyone, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
sharing. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.